Welcome in, Miss Mac. Welcome in. We're going to get started in just a minute. Thank you for joining. Can you do me a favor? Thank you for the heart meet. Help me share this out, and we're going to get started in just a minute. Thank you for coming in. Peace and love. Peace and love. Starting. Just trying to get it shared out. Lord. Thank you for sharing out the live, Miss Mac. We're about to get started. Thank you for joining in. So, the topic of today is relationships, communication, jealousy, forgiveness, and protecting your peace. Okay? So, let's be real. Let's be real. Most relationships don't end because of cheating. They end because of miscommunication. Welcome in, collectively affirming. Thank you for coming in. So what do y'all think about that? Drop it in the chat. Do you think communication is an issue in relationships? Drop it in the chat. Invite some people over. And we're going to get started. So welcome in, everyone. Let's get into it, okay? So, how many of us are in relationships? I mean, we all are, right? We are all in some type of relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a girlfriend and boyfriend, whether it's husband and wife, whether it's siblings. We all encounter relationships. And how many times have you seen communication being an issue in a relationship? Y'all, this is your safe space. We're going to talk about it today. Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. No problem, Miss Beck. I got you, girl. I got you. You know I got you. I will let you know. So, come on, y'all guys. Let's talk about communication. Lack of communication equals what? Assumptions, right? You didn't say it, so I made it up in my head. How many times have we got in trouble for making things up in our head? It's very important to communicate and communicate frequently, right? All right, so, but let's dive a little deeper into it. Let's talk about tone versus intent. When we are communicating, we definitely have to consider tone. Because if I say, girl, get the heck out of here. If I say, girl, get the heck out of here. The tone is going to set the conversation. Oh, let me turn off that beat. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Turn that off. So that tone is going to set the mood, the intent. So we have to be very careful with our tone so that we will get over the point, get to the person we're communicating with a clear point, communicate clearly, and our intent is clear. So that is first, but we also need to stop avoiding hard conversations. Sometimes hard conversations are necessary. We cannot avoid them. Have you ever lost a relationship because of communication? Drop it in the chat, yes or no. I know that I have. Communication is so important in everything we do in life. And remember, communication can be verbal and communication can be nonverbal. Let me ask you all a question. After you drop in the chat, yes or no, if you've ever lost a relationship because of communication, but also drop it in the chat if you are one to speak up or are you one to shut down. Drop it in the chat. Because let me tell you, sometimes I shut completely down. Yes, I do not recommend doing that. But once you become overwhelmed, you tend to sometimes shut down. How many of you are with me? Sandra says yes. Yeah, you tend to shut down because you're just like, this is not working. You get frustrated and you just want to shut down because it's just not working. But you never win if you shut down. I'm just going to throw that out there. It is very crucial that you speak up, but timing is going to be everything. Speak up at the right time. Thank you for coming in. Never give up. It is so good to see you. Speaking up and not is hands down going to be the winning situation. You're going to win when you speak up and not shut down. I know we're all guilty of it. If I'm the only one, you know what? Okay, I accept it. But if you've ever shut down, instead of deciding to communicate, drop it in the chat. Shut down or shut it down or just a yes, will do. Can't deal with a non-communicator. Sandra, I get it. It is so difficult to deal with people who do not communicate well. I get it. Thank you for coming in. Never give up. So happy to see you. Happy to see you too, Sandra. Let's see. Can't deal with a non-communication. Welcome in, Joker's in the house. Thank you for coming in. Joker, which one are you? Do you speak up or do you shut down? Now I have another question too. Which one are you? Are you an over communicator or a silent treatment? I could probably guess that a lot of us women probably use a lot of words and over communicate. And probably a lot of men give this silent treatment. What do you guys think? Drop it in the comments. Let's see, let's see. Over communicated, going to silent. Yes, when I feel like I've said more than I've needed to say, you're getting the silent treatment, okay? You're getting the silent treatment because I'm not gonna keep talking until my mouth is dry. But I do have a lot of words. How many of you can agree with me on that one? Welcome in, DA. Welcome in. Silence from me. Joker says silence. I get it. I know a lot of men tend to go on the silent side, and a lot of men probably prefer their woman to. Am I right? Am I right? I know I'm right. Let me ask you guys something. If a person say, "I'm fine," what does that interpret to you? I'm just gonna say it. The whole chat, each and every one of you know exactly what it means. That means that that person is not fine. Can y'all agree with me on that one? They're not fine. And you may need to do some digging to see what's going on. You may need to communicate to try to get to the bottom of it. Welcome in, pretty mama. You may have to communicate um, to get it out of the person. Communication is not just talking, by the way. Communication is listening. Communication is understanding, and communication is clarifying. That's right, Joker. Not fine at all. I'm not fine, Sandra said. Hi, pretty mama. Thank you for coming in. So just I always when I try to communicate with someone or try to find out what's going on or how I can be of help, I always say how can I help? Can I hug? Or can I, you just want me to hear you. You just want to be heard. I always ask because sometimes people just want to be heard. They don't want you to help them. They don't want you to hold them, hug them. They just want you to hear them. Sometimes that's what they want. They want to be heard. And you have to meet them where they are because if not, you risk them shutting down communication completely. All right. So listen to your partner, listen to the other person, listen to your friend, family, whoever it is you're trying to communicate. It is key, DAS, and listen. And then don't be in a hurry to respond to them. Stop and try to understand them. If you seek to understand, you will definitely communicate better. You will definitely improve your communication skills because you will hear all that you need to hear before you are responding. And even when you respond, work on reflective responding. So when you hear them speak, say, what I heard you say, or what I understood that you meant, so that you can learn to communicate more effectively. Oh, thank you for the unicorn. Thank you so much. Hello, honey. So funny. Welcome into the room, my GSO sister. Thank you. So you will improve your communication if you seek to understand what your partner is trying to communicate. And then clarify, like I said, reflective listening. What I heard you say, what I understood you saying, so that the person can clearly say yes or no, that's what I meant, or the person that you're communicating with can change it around and say it in a different way. Remember, the unspoken expectations lead to spoken disappointments. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move into another challenge as it relates to relationships. All right. And that is the silent killer. What might that be, you ask? That's jealousy. I see you walking through. Come on, Queen Purdy, come right back through. Jealousy doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers and destroys everything quietly. I'm going to say that again so that y'all can hear it. The people in the back can hear exactly what I'm saying. Jealousy doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's a whisper and it destroys everything quietly. Insecurity, and let's say insecurity versus intuition. Insecurity is just no matter what a person does, there's no peace within yourself or within the other person. Um, and that's a dangerous place to be. Intuition. Now, how many of you believe in intuition? If you believe in intuition, drop an I in the comments. Joker says, Amen. Because, and the reason why I see you believe in intuition. Yes, I fully believe in intuition. We as women, I think, really carry intuition. And but the only thing is we got to make sure because there could be a fine line between insecurity and intuition. So it just takes us working on it and fine tuning it, make sure that you are a whole person. When you're a whole person, insecurities don't tend to be able to survive inside of you. You usually don't deal with insecurities if you're a whole person. So in any relationship, you need to work on being a whole person and not looking for someone to add to you or to be a part of you. You are whole within yourself. You will not operate in insecurity. Now, have any of you ever dealt with social media jealousy? Yes, we're about to talk about it. Social media jealousy, superpower. You can be in touch with your intuition, but can't be throwing things up in the air. Yes, make sure that you are not crossing the line to insecurity. Superpower. Women have the super of intuition. Yes, it's very true. It's very true. Have any of you ever dealt with social media jealousy? Drop a J in the comments if you dealt with social media jealousy. Y'all, you have no, yes, pretty mama say J quickly. I get it. I get it. Social media jealousy is another quick way that kills relationships. And I'm sorry, unalives relationships. Um, and sometimes the jealousy is not even warranted because, as many of us are on social media, we see people living lives. Of course, people are only going to share the good part of their lives. They're not going to show, the not so pretty parts of their life. And so a lot of times we see things on social media. I remember being on, I'm going to say TT, where people are gifting and you see people getting big gifts and maybe you're not getting as big a gift, or on also other social media platforms, and that jealousy starts to work its way up, and then before you know it, you're falling out with people and you don't really even know what you're falling out about. You're like, why am I even mad at that person? You don't even know, because jealousy crept into that relationship, and that you need to cut it off at the head. Oh, those are so sweet. Thank you. Just after Easter Sunday. Thank you so much. Welcome in. Thank you for the rose, Miss Mac. How about comparing relationships on social media? Comparing relationship off of social media. That can lead to jealousy. How about control disguised as love? Let me say it louder so that you can hear it in the back. Control disguised as love. Sometimes the people that we love, we fall into a controlling pattern, and we need to be very careful. Welcome in, Mandy. Thank you for those forest friends. I really appreciate it. Um, we can only control ourselves. When we understand that we cannot control another person, we are going to be stronger, better. We're going to be in stronger and better relationships. We can only control ourselves. Control is not love, and love is not control. Two different things. We need to understand that. Love a person doesn't mean that you can control what they do, how long they're on social media. Welcome in, Lady J. Thank you for that heartbeat. It doesn't mean that it means that we're still individuals. That's what it means. We're still individuals. You cannot control your loved ones. And they will resent you if you try. Be honest. Have you ever checked a phone? Have you ever checked your boyfriend's phone, your girlfriend's phone, your husband's phone, your wife's phone, looking for something? Drop it in the chat or put a check in the chat. If you checked your spouse's phone, your friend's phone, your girlfriend's phone, welcome in, Robert. Drop a check. Don't be shy. This is your safe space. No judgment here. Because let me tell you, Pretty Mama put check, 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 check. Jay, that's the way Sandra says I have. And let me tell you something. I'm good, Robert. Checking your boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, husband, wife's phone is not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on the intentions. Because let me tell you one thing. If you are looking for something, you will certainly find it, even if it's not really there. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. If you are looking for something in your spouse's, your significant other, your friend's phone, you can certainly find it, even when it's not there. Because context is everything. If you see a middle of a sentence, but you don't see the beginning or the end, you can misassume or assume that something is being said that wasn't even being said. Context is everything. It's in between. Sandra said it's in between the lines. Absolutely, absolutely. I have under circumstances, however, I don't believe in that thing. Yes, and it's okay, Miss Mac. It is okay if you and your partner have an agreement that checking phones is okay. It's okay. The dangers is be careful of what you find and be careful of how you react to what you find because it can definitely tear your relationship up. Make sure that, there's certain privacy that your partner would like to have. I mean, I like to have privacy. I'm very open with my spouse, but there are times that, in your phone, you may be having a conversation with your girlfriends, and you don't necessarily want your spouse to know what's going on with your girlfriends, nor is it even your spouse's business to know what's going on with your girlfriends. So that's why I just say if it's an agreement that you have, make sure that you communicate very well how you're going to use that freedom to look in each other's phone so that you won't be tearing up your relationship. Thank you for the heartbeat, Catfish Gangsta in the house, and Lindsay. So I just say that when you are, just be careful. Communicate very well with your significant other, and just um, you know, be careful what you go looking for. Because just like I said, if you looking for something negative, you're gonna find something negative. All right. How about checking location? Have you ever had a partner who maybe secretly put a tracker on you, put a tracker on your phone? Has that ever happened? Maybe you don't even know. That is a red flag. That is not a normal thing. This, hi boo, this could definitely be a relationship unaliver. It's not normal. If you have an agreement that you're going to keep locations on each other, I mean, I use Life 360 for my whole family. So we know where everyone is at all times, but it's an agreement. But if you are secretly doing that, stop it. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't do that. Okay? Some people don't want, but some people don't want you. They just want, I'm sorry. Some people don't want you. They just don't want anyone else to have you also. That is real talk, okay? I just want to throw that out there. Some people are checking locations, checking phones, don't really want you, but they don't want someone else to have you. That is a real thing. All right. So let's talk about healthy versus toxic. What would you define as a healthy relationship? Drop one word in the comment that you would define a healthy relationship. One word. Let me see those words. One word in the comment. Thank you for reconnecting, Miss Matt. Thank you for that reconnection. Thank you, Lex, for the roses. One word in the chat that you would define a healthy relationship. Trust. Pretty Mama says trust. Sandra says trust me. One word. Loyalty. Joker says loyalty. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Transparency. All of those are great words. Now, drop a word in the chat how you would define toxic, jealousy, respect. Yana says respect. Absolutely. Friends. Catfish says friends. That's a good one for the healthy relationship. That's a good one. That's a good one. So drop one word in the chat how you would define toxic jealousy. Beating on you. Yes, pretty mama. That is a toxic jealousy. Draining. You feel always drained. Yes, Yana. You're always in secret. That's what Sandra says. Yes, that you always seem to be secretly texting or secret calls or having to leave the room. Toxic. Control, chaos. Yes, attachment. Attachment. Yeah, it could be toxic and it could be healthy too. I mean, it just depends on the couple. Manipulation, Joker says. Yep, that is one. Narcissism. Narcissism. Yep. Sandra said, I got a list. Okay. And I just want y'all to put those words so that when you are in any relationship, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a partner, you need to be aware of healthy behaviors and toxic behaviors and jealousy, toxic jealousy. Because if you have to control it to keep it, you never had it in the first place. Okay? You never had it. So we're going to focus on those healthy relationship uh, traits, those healthy words. And that's what we want to live in. We want to communicate, we want to avoid jealousy, and we want to make sure that our relationship is healthy. So, our last topic is in relationships, we want to make sure that we are able to forgive and we are able to make sure that we are in good mental health. Some of you are carrying relationship pain from 10 years ago into a brand new relationship. Have any of you ever done that? Be honest. Somebody hurt you 10 years and now the person who you're with today is still paying for what happened to you 10 years ago. Drop it in the comments. And be honest, we all carry some type of baggage in every relationship that we're in. You know, whether you have been catfish, said nope, that's good. That's good. Whether you're unhealed from trauma or, just something that, just triggers you. It can really affect you in a new relationship. Not so far, Joker said. That's good. I like that. I like that you are consciously not bringing in that baggage from old relationships because unhealed trauma really affects new relationships, and that emotional baggage that you bring in could be too heavy for your partners. Now, listen, I'm not talking about just husband and wife, relationships or boyfriend girlfriend relationships. I'm talking about friendships. I'm talking about even family carrying emotional baggage into those new relationships. Maybe a girlfriend hurt you 10 years ago, a good girlfriend, and today you decided you don't want to have relationships with women because they hurt you. It happens. Don't beat yourself up, but recognize it, be aware so that you can understand that everyone is different. You cannot hold somebody responsible for a war that they did not create. I'm going to say that again. You had a war with another relationship. You can't hold the person in the new relationship responsible for that old war, okay? Miss Max says the very reason I'm not dating or anything right now. That's good. That is very mature to recognize that you're not ready. That's very mature. When I didn't see the lessons in my past relationship, yes, but now recently, no. Okay. That's good. Recognize it. How about have any of you had depression from heartbreak? Or how about just anxiety in relationships and you don't even know why? Sometimes people just have anxiety and they just don't know why. Disappointment in friends, disappointment in partners, disappointment in family. Have you ever been hurt so bad that it changed how you loved? I've been hurt so bad that I was refusing to ever give my heart to anyone fully again. Sandra says yes. Miss Max says I have. Yes. Yes. And that is so sad because we are, if you're a believer, we are children of God. He created us out of love and we are to love. And when it becomes very hard to do because of hurt, you hold out and you lose getting you lose the you lose having that good connection with another person because you're always like this. You're always like, I'm not going to allow them to get too close because I'm afraid that if I fully love them, they may try to hurt me. If I fully give to them, they're going to try to hurt me. But let me ask you this question. Do you forgive easily or do you hold grudges? Drop a F in the chat if you forgive easily, or drop a G if you hold grudges. Joker said one heartbreak makes me ruthless. Joker, we're gonna need you not to be ruthless, okay? Okay. Don't keep a war going between you and your new relationship from the old one. Okay. Let me see. Let me read these chats. Are you forgiving or are you holding grudges? Sandra say both. Catherine says forgiving. All right. Welcome in the real deal. Thank you for the heart me. The more I heal, the more I remember that it hurts even though time has passed. And it hurts even though. Yeah, and I like how you said that you're not going into another relationship because of that. You know, that you're waiting until you're completely ready. That's really important. That's really in that shows growth in you. But I want you to also just take a moment. Let's see, how many forgiving? I see a lot of forgiving and grudge. Oh, Catherine said, I forgive, but I also hold some grudges. Okay. And that's your truth. It's okay. I mean, knowing that is something that you do, it's okay. But just remember, and I know this is so cliche, just remember, forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. Okay. Okay. I see you collective. You say F, forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness is for you. You can't keep carrying that. Let me tell you, there was a saying, when you hold something against someone, when you choose not to forgive, it's like swallowing poison and expecting the other person to become unalived. That's what not forgiving does. And that's why it's so important for us to just forgive. And if you hold grudges, work on it, because you never know what that next second could be. Maybe that next second you may not be here and you leave holding that grudge. Let's work on it. Type healing in the chat if you're going to work on healing from holding grudges or healing from not forgiving. Drop healing. The real deal. I am so well. How are you doing today? I want to see some healing in that chat. Healing. We are healing. We are healing. So now I'm going to speak to those of you who have a foundation in the Word of God. Remember, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you. You can still forgive, but you can still set your boundaries. You can forgive a person, but not allow them to invade that space again. And that's not holding anything against them. That's just that's protecting yourself. And you are still forgiving. So forgive and not necessarily give that same access. And I just want to say too, healing and forgiving is not necessarily forgetting. Now, I understand some people may have different opinion about that, and it's okay. Some people say, no, you need to forgive and forget. We're human. We're not always able to just forget that thing that hurt us. We're not. We're just not able to. And so it's unreal to expect, I'm sorry, you guys. It's unreal to expect that we can do that. All right. So don't hold it, don't beat yourself up. It is not it's not expected for you to forget, but it's very important for you to heal. Okay. Um, and I have a note here. You can forgive someone and still not invite them back into your life. So just because you forgive them doesn't mean they get access to your life. All right, here we go. The social media. We're going to talk about relationships on social media. How many of us have had good relationships? Have you built good relationships on social media? Drop a one in the chat if you have built good relationships. I'm sorry, y'all. My little thing is acting up, acting out. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, drop a one. You can definitely build connections on social media, and they can be lasting connections. Just make sure that as you're building social media connections that you stay grounded. And when I say that is, remember, we are all who we want to be behind this keyboard. So just like yourself, you let people know the parts of your life that you want them to know. Me, I'm more open. That's why I call myself the real mojo. I share a lot because I want people to know the good, the bad, and the not so pretty. Because life is not always good. You're not always riding. It's not always roses and rainbows. It's not always butterflies. Sometimes, you wake up and you step in caca, okay? And so I tend to be more transparent, but there's a lot of people who choose not to be transparent on social media. And that's why I'm saying yes, you can build relationship, build connections, but make sure that, like I said before, don't fall into the jealousy, don't fall into things that will create a not so good connection. That's what I'm trying to say. Because once you find out the truth in those relationships, it destroys trust. And maybe that wasn't the truth. Maybe your trust was built on something that wasn't true in the first place. But this one is a little bit harder. But when you're entertaining on your social media, don't do so at the expense of your partner. That is a big way and a quick way to ruin your relationship. Don't ignore your partner's feelings as it relates to your presence on social media. And I know some of you may not agree with this, and it's okay because I'm always going to say it's what works in your household. Okay. Every one of our homes are different. We run our homes different. And if it works for your home, okay, great, wonderful. Knock yourself out. But always be in alignment with your partner so that social media won't ruin your relationship. And who am I talking to? I'm talking to me also. Should everything be posted on social media? Drop a yes if you think it's okay to post everything in social media, or drop a no. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Mac. I've moved on. I'm so sorry I missed your message. We're talking about social media and your relationships. Drop a yes if you feel like everything should be posted on social media, or drop a no. Joker said, heck no. Yes, I used to be told no such thing as bad. Okay, Lexus, that's interesting. You was told no such thing as bad publicity. And let me think about this for a minute. I know that at times people want to get noticed so bad, or people want to go viral and things like that at any cost. And again, if you're willing to pay the bill that publicity brings to you, then knock yourself out. A lot of times people put things out there that they don't realize the kickback that will come back to them, and then they regret it and they try to delete it. But the problem with social media, the problem with the world wide web is that once you put it out there, it's always out there, and it can be dug up. Which one dropped the name? And they were embarrassing online. Catfish says, heck no, everything. Yeah, you shouldn't post everything on social media. But if you're willing to cash the check that post charges you, then so by all means, so be it. But a lot of times you can ask some of the most famous celebrities who can go back and say they've regretted posting certain things on social media, especially as it related to their relationship. Because the thing about relationships is if you go online and bash your partner, at the time, it may bring you a lot of attraction because a lot of people like negativity. A lot of people like drama. That's why we have the Housewives. That's why we have um, Love and Hip Hop. All those programs have a lot of negative drama and things like that. But a lot of them regret it later and hate that they ever. If you talk to some of those housewives that were on those housewives show, they regret ever doing it. I can tell you one who said it herself, Kim Fields. Kim Fields was on the Housewives of Atlanta, and she regretted ever being there. And she publicly stated that. So all publicity for me is not necessarily good, but it's up to you. Like I said, if you're willing to cash the check that it gave you, hey, by all means. But I have a question. Speaking of housewives, have you ever argued over social media? Have you ever? When I walk into a room and people are arguing, I'm just like this. I'm walking right back out. To me, it is not a pretty look. And it kills relationships for no reason. All you have to do is ask that person to take it off of social media. People love to see drama. And if you're arguing on social media, they are all eyes. You have their attention, you have their eyes. Hey William, welcome in. They are all eyes. I'm sorry, I lost my place. So and that's the quickest way to I'm sorry, unalive. Sometimes I forget which words I have to use on this social media. That's the quickest way to unalive your relationship. Oh Lord, I lost my place. So I just, at the end of the day, I just want to say protect your relationship. That includes making sure that your partner is comfortable with what you're posting. But I have this question as it relates to partners on social media, especially in a romantic partnership. Is liking pictures cheating? Would you say liking pictures on social media cheating? I'm curious, how many of you say it's cheating? Drop cheating in the comments if you feel like liking pictures is cheating. Miss Max says, I have had deep opposing conversation, not arguing. Yes, Miss Max, deep conversation is really good. It is good because it creates a room to display different opinions. Like maybe I didn't see it this way. Maybe the person didn't see it this way. How about if I state this opinion? I mean, debates. They have debate clubs. They have debate in school. It's not necessarily a negative. If you have opposing conversations, that's not a negative. But when you're arguing and dismissing each other and cussing each other out, all bets are off. It's very unattractive for one thing. For me, I know some people are attracted to that. That's, more peace to them. But it's liking a picture cheating. Lexus say no. Catfish says no. I don't know what conversation is going on over there. I don't know what's going on over there. Like a conversation. Y'all are too much in that chat. Y'all are too much. So a lot of you say it depends. Okay, Sandra says that, hey, Sandra says it depends on the picture. That's a good point. That's a good point. So liking a picture that maybe showing a little bit much could be considered cheating. That's a good point, Sandra. I never thought about it like that. To me, it was a hard no. Liking pictures for me was a hard no. But now you got me thinking about it. It depends on what the picture is. Catfish says he's raised his voice. Okay. So William says no, that liking pictures is not cheating. I have another question. Do you feel that telling another woman or man that she's beautiful or handsome, is that cheating? I'm curious. Is that cheating? Would you consider that cheating? Drop it in the chat. Y'all, I seriously lost my place in my notes. That was an extra. Hey, Fit King, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for coming in. Drop them in the chat. I'm waiting on y'all. This is a good one, so I want to see how many of you would say yes, how many would say no. I'm curious. I'm curious. Telling someone who's not your spouse, not your partner, that they're beautiful or that they're handsome on social media or in a text message. Is that considered cheating? The question is, let me say it again. If you're in a relationship and you tell someone on social, whether it's on social media or in a text, that they are beautiful or that they are handsome, would you consider that cheating? See what we say. William says no. Not gonna risk. Not gonna risk saying it. Sandra said, I pleaded the fifth. Y'all get out of my chat with all of that. Y'all get out of my chat. Y'all are not allowed to respond anymore. I'm gonna keep going. Just curious. I was just curious. Let me bring myself back. No, but it might be out of line. Okay, it may not be cheating. Catfish said it may not be cheating, but it could be considered out of line. Because when I think about it, I don't think that it's cheating as well, but I definitely think it's out of line. I always say that if you can't say or do something in front of the Father, then you shouldn't be doing it. Now, if you're not a believer, I'm going to say if you wouldn't do it in front of your partner, then don't do it. Because you already know that your partner wouldn't like it. But I'm gonna bring it back in because I don't really like to focus on the cheating and that part of relationships because we all know that cheating and being dishonest is the quickest way to break a relationship. I want to bring it back to the Christ-centered relationships. You know, um, a better way to build healthy, happy relationships is, let's pray together. Praying together and making sure that you align spiritually. These are ways to build your relationships. Because let me tell you something, if you don't align spiritually, a lot of times your relationship is going to be headed for unaliving, okay? Because when you align spiritually, I just feel like your relationship can blossom and just be so beautiful. When you're unequally yoked in relationships, this can bring conflict. especially if you don't communicate well. Um, when I'm talking about relationships, I'm not just talking about, loving partner relationships. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about um, just a lot of just any relationship being unequally yoked. So say you have a friend who thinks that, you're striving to be a millionaire and they're striving to be 100. They're okay with being 100 there. Yeah, I said 100 there. That relationship is unequally yoked. Maybe you believe in owning businesses and your friend believes in working for someone. That's an unequal partnership, unequally yoked relationship. You want to be around people who are like you, or you want to be around people who are already where you're striving to go. So if you're a CEO of a company, that's who you want to connect with. Those are the relationships that you want to make sure that you are seeking. But in it all, when choosing relationships, whether it be a partnership or friendship, let God lead your decisions in all. You want to, because if God connects you in any relationship, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a partnership, no one's going to be able to break that relationship. So make sure that your relationships are led by God, they're God centered. Stop asking God for relationship blessings while ignoring his standards. Remember, when you're talking to someone, when you're having the relationship that you're building, make sure that if you are in a relationship with someone else, that these relationships are like I said, are by his standards. And that is the best way to keep them close, keep them solid. Because me personally, I feel like a relationship without God is like a car without gas. It might look good, that big shiny Ferrari sitting out there may look good, but if it don't have no gas in it, it ain't going nowhere. So I don't know what just happened to my TT. It ain't going nowhere. I don't know why that went out. So we're going to talk about self-care and then we're going to get out of here. Protecting your peace. Don't lose yourself in a relationship. In any relationship, do not lose yourself. Remember that you were a whole person before you came into the relationship. And when you walk out of it, you still need to be a whole person. Because if you lose yourself within a relationship, you will no longer be whole. Make sure you're careful from emotional burnout. Don't become emotionally burned out in the relationship. That's when you start communicating. That's when it becomes crucial to make sure that you communicate and take time for yourself. When things are too heavy, when the burden is too heavy, when it's stressing you out, when it's becoming very hard for you to carry, and you're feeling like emotional burnout, take time for yourself. Self-care is very important in relationships. Have you ever lost yourself in a relationship? Ask yourself that. And then ask yourself, when was the last time that you chose you? Because let me tell you something. If you're not choosing you, no one else is choosing. Birds of a feather flock together, Joker. Everyone who's listening to the sound of my voice, I really want you all to realize that self-care is not selfish. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I'm going to say that again. You cannot pour. So if you're in a relationship and your cup is empty, if you're continuing to pour in the other person's cup, but your cup is never being filled, that is an empty relationship, and you need to take some time to back up and do some self-care. Okay? And also just remember that some of you don't need relationships. Some of you just need some healing. And that's like what Miss Mack was saying. She was saying that that's why she's not in a relationship. Y'all, I have an affirmation for you before we leave. Repeat after me. Think after me, however you want, but put it in your head. I deserve healthy communication. I release jealousy and insecurity. I choose peace over chaos. I forgive and I free myself. I will not lose myself trying to love someone else. And I attract relationships aligned with God. I am whole with or without a relationship. That's what you should put on your mirror, on a sticky note. I am whole with or without a relationship. All right. Thank you all for joining me. I want you to tap the screen if this hit for you, if you got something out of it, rather it be you got out of it, about checking phones, communicating, forgiveness, self-care. Tap the screen, share the live, tell someone to tune in next Monday, tune in Thursday. Thank you all for coming. And I just want to say I will be live in the morning, 7 a.m. for the Morning Glow Show, where we wake up with a glow and we we speak affirmations over ourselves to start our day. 7 a.m. right here on all the platforms, whether you be on YouTube, TT, Epic, or the Facebook. I will be here 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. But as you all know, the MoJo Show. Until next time, you guys keep it real and keep your mojo. Okay? Thank you.